Hi, it's Nikki here from Happy Hormones for Life. Today I am talking about bloating. Bloating is one of the most common symptoms we hear from our female clients, especially for women with PMS or they're going through perimenopause or postmenopause. It's really not fun at all, especially if you're sitting on a bus or a train and you're offered a seat because you look like you're pregnant, or you are just uncomfortable from the minute you get up to the minute you go to bed because just your clothes are tight and it just feels horrible being bloated. Whatever your experience of it, it's usually an indication that your gut isn't happy. So it's definitely worth finding out what might be causing it so that you can address it and feel comfortable again. So, what are the main causes of bloating? Well, there are many possible causes, so there is a long list, but I will go through many of the common ones. First one is hormones. So, changing hormones can cause fluid retention and upset digestive balance. Your gut and your hormones are very much linked. So, when they're either are out of balance, then you can get bloating, and it's common in things like PCOS, endometriosis, PMS, and of course, menopause. The second cause is an actual gut infection, like an underlying infection such as a bacterial imbalance or a yeast infection or parasites or viruses, and they can cause all sorts of digestive issues, including bloating. The third main cause, very common these days actually, more and more common, is small intestine bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO as we like to call it. It's a condition associated with excess microbes, usually bacteria, in the small intestine rather than the colon. So that it comes along with symptoms such as bloating, distension, gas, or crampy pain. And it's not often recognized or diagnosed in the medical world. It tends to be put down to IBS, but we can test for it and treat it privately if that's something that you're suspecting might be going on. Number 4 is food intolerances. So if you're sensitive or intolerant to something like gluten, dairy, corn, soy, eggs, or another food source, this can cause bloating as one of the consequences of eating those things, and other symptoms as well. The fifth one is your diet, obviously. Too many refined carbs in your diet. Carbs, the bad bacteria and the yeast, they love eating carbs. So when you're feeding them, you're going to get an imbalance, and that can cause excess gas and bloating. Number 6 is too many processed foods and chemicals. So things like additives, preservatives, chemicals, they can all disrupt your digestive function and cause issues. Things particularly to watch out for are artificial sweeteners. They're not easy for the body to break down, and they have been associated with digestive issues. So watch out for those. Number 7 is a lack of enzymes or stomach acid. So this can happen as we get older, that we don't produce enough stomach acid or digestive enzymes to break down the food, can stay in your stomach longer than necessary, and then produce these fermentable gases that can cause distension and bloating. So that's another thing to think about. Number 8 is stress. Good old stress. We know stress can mess with your bowel habits, obviously. And when the body's in fight or flight mode for short or long term, actually, the last thing the body wants to do is digest your lunch or your dinner. So all your energy is going to be focused and prioritized on that stress response. So digestion can be suppressed, and that can cause all sorts of issues. Number 9 is lack of sleep. How can that be possible? So have you ever traveled and your system's gone haywire? Your circadian rhythm actually regulates everything, including your bowels. So lack of sleep can be another disruptor to your gut. Number 10 is dehydration. We know being fully hydrated is so important, but hydration and electrolyte imbalance, or lack of hydration and imbalance in your electrolytes, can really mess up your digestion, cause constipation and bloating. Constipation is my next one. So when you're backed up, obviously that's going to increase any bloating. And lastly, medications. So certain medications can have side effects that include bloating. They include things like aspirin, antacids, diarrhea tablets, iron supplements, HRT, antibiotics, and ibuprofen. And again, not for everybody, but they can be something to investigate if you're having bloating and you don't really know the cause. So many of these causes are diet or lifestyle related. But there can be more serious conditions that you need to rule out with your doctor if you've had prolonged or unexplained bloating. And that includes things like celiac disease, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, gastric ulcers, appendicitis, gallstones, and of course certain cancers. You want to get checked if you're worried and make sure you rule out any of those more serious conditions. So what can you do naturally to relieve bloating? So if the cause of your bloating is diet or lifestyle related, there are lots of things you can do. The first thing, and it sounds so basic and simple, is to chew more. And I say this a lot, but I find it really difficult myself to just chew my food more. I tend to bolt it down. I'm the fastest eater in my family, and it really is a struggle to slow down. But if it's so important to do that, because digestion starts in your mouth. It actually starts when you smell or anticipate food. Your saliva starts to be produced, and it's got these enzymes in it that start to break down the food once you eat. So it's really important to let that food sit in your mouth for a while. So chew each mouthful. Focus on your meal rather than your phone or the TV. So mindful eating is a really good way of doing this, and check out my blog on that if you haven't done already. Then you want to really be stimulating those digestive juices. So you can either take some digestive enzymes, which can really help to boost those natural enzymes that you have that start to digest the food. Or you can take a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar before your meals. You can dilute it as well if you don't like the taste of it, it's a bit strong. That can really help to stimulate your gastric juices and start really digesting your food properly. Relaxing more, absolutely key. So again, going back to that mindfulness, making sure you're switching off your stress response every single day, trying meditation, deep breathing, yoga, walking, anything that switches off that stress response. We talk about this all the time, but relaxing helps your gut work properly. You can keep a food and symptom diary and sort of just see if there's any patterns relating to what you're eating or doing on a daily basis that you could knock out and stop. Because sometimes, you know, we're so busy that we don't notice certain things are happening when we eat certain foods or we're doing certain activities. So just keeping a diary can spot any regular patterns. You can try eliminating some of the key food intolerances, like dairy and gluten are the biggest ones. You can try and do that for a few weeks. It's amazing what symptoms can be relieved when some people do this, because if it is dairy and gluten, then that's an easy one. Well, it's not easy, but you know, at least you know what's causing the bloating, and then you can look for alternatives if that's the case. You can really clean up your diet, so eating more whole real foods, avoiding processed foods, avoiding vegetable oils, because again they can mess with us, and making sure you're piling on the veggies for that fibre to make sure everything's going through properly. Including some gut-friendly foods, so things like ginger and dandelion and fennel and mint and parsley, all those lovely things, turmeric. And then fermented foods like kefir, kombucha, live yogurts, all things with lots of natural probiotics in a good diverse range that can really sort of help to keep your microbial balance in check. It's not going to work for everyone because it'll depend on what your actual gut balance is doing. There's no one size fits all, but it doesn't hurt, and you know, these things you know, are there to kind of repopulate and balance you. Staying hydrated is really vital, so make sure you're filling up a jug of water for the day. Keep drinking. You can flavour your water with lemon or cucumber, berries or other fruits or herbs if you don't like water, but it's incredibly important to keep hydrated. Staying active, really important exercise to keep the digestion moving, the motility going, and the bowels working properly. You've got to be moving your body. So sitting all day has a really negative effect on the bowels and will aggravate bloating. So staying active, you don't have to kill it at the gym, but just, you know, moving more in general really, really helps. Supplements can help. So things like magnesium, particularly magnesium citrate, will help to relax those bowel muscles, particularly if you're constipated. And that's what's causing the bloating. So try some, you know, between 400 or 500 grams of magnesium citrate. You can try digestive enzymes, as I mentioned. Fish oils, EPA, DHA help to reduce inflammation if that's the cause of the bloating, and vitamin D regulates your immune system. So these supplements can really help. Again, you know, go for my top 5 that I recommend all the time. Go to the website shop-now and you'll see the supplements that I recommend for many women over 40. Your basic top 5, and all of those that I've mentioned are in there, apart from the digestive enzymes, but you'll see them on the page as well. And then, you know, if you still can't find the root of your bloating, I would suggest you think about getting tested, because we do stool tests, or we can do a breath test. that will help to identify any underlying causes that are really just getting in your way and stopping you finding the real root cause of that bloating. So if you would like our help to identify any root cause, then let me know and just contact us. Hope that was helpful today. Hope you're all well, and I'll see you soon.